Hello, it's Tom again. This video is about Liberty Safe and how I was wrong about them. I did another hot take video and I got it wrong again. Again, those hot take videos are off the cuff. They're done without, an idea of a script. Not that this is scripted. Um, it's just my general view based on the information that is available at the time. And I was missing a key piece of information, or I had overlooked a piece of information. So, to recap, Liberty Safe cooperated with law enforcement. Specifically, an individual who was who had a warrant served with relation to their activities during the January 6th incident. The FBI was conducting a search. They had convinced a judge that um, their investigation at the observation level yielded enough evidence to warrant a more invasive investigation. The judge agreed. They got a search warrant. They went through the guy's stuff. The guy had a Liberty Safe. Now, the piece of information I was missing about Liberty Safe, or I hadn't really connected the dots. Their electronic locks, they kind of have a sort of feature where uh, they'll get you into that safe if you are legally allowed to go into that safe. More specifically, it was meant to be a feature for the customer. You forget your combination, they'll get you in. You pass away, your next of kin wants to get into the safe, they'll get your next of kin in. By policy, if the police want to get in, the answer is no, unless the police have a search warrant that allows them to enter the safe anyway. And that upsets a lot of people. Okay, so what are we dealing with here, ethically speaking? Because legally speaking, Liberty was not compelled to provide access, meaning they didn't have a court order saying you will give the police access to the safe. They weren't given any sort of warrant or subpoena or anything like that that says you must comply with law enforcement or the will of the court. So it becomes an ethical decision. And by policy, they chose to go the route of no warrant, no access. If there's a warrant, they give access. Uh, that's concerning to a lot of people. Now, that policy changed as soon as this story went viral, and they're going to require a court order in the future that compels them rather than simply cooperating with law enforcement. Now, the other observation I made about federal agents, and uh, full disclosure, my enlistment in the Coast Guard ended in 2008. The last several years I was in the Coast Guard, I was a federal law enforcement officer. And I'm not really a back the blue kind of guy, and I've never worked with the FBI. I've worked with police across the country, multiple states, state level police as well as local police. And yeah, I'm familiar with local cops, maybe not having the highest of ethical standards. So I can understand you may not want to cooperate, and you may instead choose to at least seek legal counsel and wait until you are compelled. That is fine. Um, but in the case of a search, I can assure you they have the ability to open that safe destructively. These days, I am in construction. I can assure you the rest of my observation was absolutely correct. The demolition saws and core drills leave a huge amount of collateral mess. You can expect your floors rotted out, your walls. I mean, that's slurry when it's like a. If it was a high-end Liberty safe, it's going to have a thick sheet of metal, concrete with hardened steel ingots randomly spread throughout that concrete, and then another sheet of metal. And so you'd end up with this god awful slurry of concrete and metal that will dry out and hardened over the top of uh, the thing that is going to start rotting and molding. And so, just keep that in mind. Why am I saying this? Well, the individual being searched, and I'm not saying he's guilty of anything, innocent until proven guilty, he was pretty upset that Liberty cooperated with law enforcement. Okay, I get it. And there's a personal motivation there. Hey, you're upset with law enforcement. They just came into your home. This is a very upsetting thing. Um, Liberty did not make this man a victim. They did him a favor. Now, I did observe that maybe there was something of evidentiary value in the safe, in which case, maybe it wasn't a great favor. But hey, at least when he gets out, his floors won't be rotted out and full of mold. Uh, Assuming he ends up getting locked up. I don't know. Another way to look at it is this isn't that bad. Liberty let their customers know that, yeah, they got this service on their electronic locks to assure you that you can always get into your safe, or your next of kin can always get into your safe. So, the customers know that Liberty has this ability, even if they forgot. And so you're in this space where it's like, okay, you knew, or at least at some point you knew, they had that information. And there was a search warrant, and they just went to the people who had that information to get into the safe to see if you were hiding evidence there. They did not destroy your home, or they did not. I mean, they tossed the guy's place, but I mean, they did not cause permanent damage to the home opening the safe because Liberty cooperated. And this guy believes Liberty has made him a victim, much like he believes law enforcement has made him a victim. And he believes other people have made him a victim. But the reality is, none of these people, he's not the victim of any of these people. He's just a victim. And until he learns the difference between spending his time with people who will support him versus spending his time with people who enabled him, he will continue to be a victim.